Holy moly. That title's huge. Solve equations with variables on each side. Okay, we have moved beyond the two-step equation that we mastered in 7th grade. Now we're looking at equations where we have a variable on each side. So I've got an x there and an x there. Over here I've got a y there and a y there. So we've got to take care of that. So let's start with this. The biggest thing for me with this is let's get the variable down to one variable. All right. First thing, get the variable down to one variable. We want one variable in this equation. And this is going to be pretty simple. The big step for us now is like to look at these terms not as multiplication that we split up. This is 5 times x. I don't want to divide by 5 here to get x by itself. I want that to be 0. And for me to make it 0, not 1x, this is a positive 5x. So I'm just going to subtract 5x. So you're saying to yourself, whoa, Mr. Romanovich, that's crazyville. That doesn't even make sense. Let's look at it this way. What if x equaled 2 and we had 5 times 2 and that equaled 10? So if we wanted to subtract that to make it 0, we would just subtract 10 from that and now we have 0. The same is true with 5x. So whatever value x is here, if we subtract 5x from it, that's going to be 0. All right, making sure we don't stumble on that to think, oh, because it's a coefficient I always divide, that's critical here. So we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. So minus 5x and minus 5x. This is our 0 pair here. Positive 5x, negative 5x is 0. And that leaves us 21 equals 8x minus 5x is 3x. Now visually, that would look like this. I have 8 x's, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 x's. And what I'm going to do is subtract 5 of those x's. So let's get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's my 3 x's left. That's how that works. Nothing fancy, it's just a term. It's got a coefficient and a variable, but because we're just adding and subtracting those, we can manipulate them the way that we want. And now I'm back to a very simple one step that we're really confident with. We'll divide by 3 and divide by 3, and we'll find out that x, or 1x, is equal to 7. Now let's prove that. If I move a little bit here to the left, let's take our 7 and put it back in, which gives me 5 times 7 plus 21 equals 8 times 7. Okay? 5 times 7 is 35 plus 21 equals 8 times 7 is 56. I forgot to write my mantra. Let me write my mantra. Hold on. Do not forget. The key to this is do the math. Leave no doubt, comma, write it out. This is not killing me to do this. So 35 plus 21, 5 plus 1 is 6. 30 plus 20 is the 50. 56 equals 56. My checks have been terrible today. I don't know why I can't make a check mark to save my life. So that checks. X does equal 7. Let's do another one that's kind of on the starter size. So I've got 2y equals 7y plus 10. I want to get it down to one variable term. I've got this constant over here. I want to leave that constant on that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 7y from both sides. So here's my 0 pair. When I combine positive 7y with negative 7y, I get 0. Make sure that equals sign comes down. 0 plus 10. That's pretty simple. Then I'm going to combine 2y and negative 7y here. Don't forget that's positive. So I've got positive 2, negative 7, more negatives than positive. How many more negatives? I got 5 more negatives, which is going to give me negative 5y. Now I'm going to rewrite this real quick just to make sure that's clear. So I've got negative 5y equals 10, and now I have a one-step equation that's pretty straightforward. We're going to divide both sides by -5 because we want that 1y at the end. -5 divided by -5 is 1. And divide that side by -5. Notice that equal sign has been traveling down with me. Now, how many -5s are there in 10? -2. Because -2 times -5 would give us positive 10. Negative times a negative gives us a positive. Negative times a positive, opposite sign, same sign, positive answer. Opposite sign, negative answer. So I get y equals -2. Now let's check it. I've run out of a little bit of space here. Let me make a little room for my check. I've got 2 times -2 equals 7 times -2 plus 10. Let's do the math. 2 times -2 is -4. 7 times -2 is -14 plus 10. -4 equals, all right, I have 14 negatives, 10 positive. Push those together. More negatives than positives. There are 4 more negatives than positives. -4, and that checks, which is a mildly good check that I just drew. Here's one with rational coefficients. Nothing to worry about here. The only thing we've got to do is go back to 5th grade, a little bit of 4th grade, and remember that when we add and subtract fractions, we need a common denominator. So in this, let's do the first things first. Let's take care of the variable first. So if we take care of the variable first, I've got 2/3 x and I've got -1/6 x. It's easier for me to turn thirds into sixths instead of saying this is 1/2 of a third. That'd be crazy. So let's just rewrite this, do the math, leave no doubt, write it out. So this needs to be in sixths. So I multiply this by 2, multiply that by 2, which gives me 4/6 x minus 2 equals 8 minus 1/6 x. Now I have a -1/6 x, and I want to make that 0. All right, so let's just take that, and the 0 pair for -1/6 s would be +1/6 x. And that means I'm going to add a 1/6 x on that side. So now I've got -1/6, +1/6, that's 0. That's going to leave me just 8 there. Now on this side, I've got 4/6 plus 1/6, which is just 5/6 x. And that -2 just comes down here and becomes -2. Now we're back to a 2-step equation just with a rational coefficient. At this point, let's add 2 to both sides because we're trying to get that x by itself now. And now I've got 5/6 x equals 10. I'm going to bring that up here so I have some room. 5/6 x equals 10. Now we want to turn this into just x, which means we go back and we need the reciprocal. 6 times 5 is 30, 5 times 6 is 30, 30 divided by 30 is 1. Now we're on this side, there's my 1x. All right, let's divide off this 5 and the 10. And I have 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 6 is 12, 12. X equals 12. Do you believe it? I believe it, but let's check it anyway. I'm going to go back to the original equation. Now you can't do this, but I have room here to do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to substitute in for x. Let's do this. 12 over 1. And this, 12 over 1. And then let's just do the math. I mean, that's what we're here to do. Let's do the multiplication first. I've got 2/3 of 12. 2/3 of 12 is 8, but let's prove that it's 8. Divide by 3, and we get 4. 2 times 4 is 8, minus 2 equals, this looks good right now, doesn't it? Divide by 6, we get 2 is 8 minus 2, 6 equals 6, ba-bam. And that checks. X does equal 12. No vocab today, but key to success. All right, key to success is to make sure we have one variable term first. First. Work on the variable term first. When you do that, then everything's going to fall right into place for you. Good luck.